The highly anticipated second season of Wolf Hall has arrived almost a decade after the first season on the BBC, and it incorporates historical figures, including Mary Tudor, the daughter of Henry VIII. This follows the BBC's first-look images of Wolf Hall Season 2, which further built anticipation. The show delves into Thomas Cromwell's influential role in the tumultuous reign of Henry VIII, a period marked by political intrigue, religious upheaval, and personal tragedy. As the series unfolds, viewers are confronted with the stark reality of power and its potential for destruction. One of the most shocking moments in the opening episode is Henry's threat to execute his own daughter, Mary, played by Lilith Lesser. This chilling display of royal authority underscores the lengths to which Henry will go. Viewers are drawn into a gripping narrative of familial conflict, political maneuvering, and the high stakes of defying a king. Mary Tudor, often remembered as Bloody Mary, is a complex and controversial figure in English history. Mary's life was shaped by the tumultuous events of the Tudor era. In addition to Anne Boleyn's execution recap in Wolf Hall's Season 2 opening, Mary Tudor is a key focus. Her legitimacy, a constant theme throughout her life, was central to the tensions of the episode. Mary Tudor was the child of Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon. Mary was born of a marriage made in good faith but overturned with a key motive. Viewers would be forgiven for being taken aback at Mary's illegitimacy, as she was conceived during his marriage to his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. The answer lies in Henry's annulment of his marriage to Catherine. Catholicism did not allow him to divorce, which he desperately wanted to do to Mary and Boleyn. However, Catherine was previously married to Henry's brother, Arthur, briefly. Despite her claim that the marriage was never consummated and her resistance to the annulment due to her strong Catholic faith, her previous marriage to his brother technically made her Henry's sister, rendering their marriage illegitimate. Henry pursued the annulment for 7 years, having become obsessed with Anne Boleyn in 1526. He finally annulled his marriage to Catherine in 1533, married Anne, and declared Mary illegitimate in the same year. This is where the question of the legitimacy of his progeny comes in. Today, in our increasingly secular society, we recognize that a marriage can be dissolved, and a subsequent marriage is equally valid. This was not shared by the Tudors, ultimately complicating Mary's legitimacy. Henry established the Church of England with the Supremacy Act in 1534, breaking away from Catholicism and disempowering the Pope. In the Catholic Church, there were only 2 grounds for divorce: consanguinity, being too closely related, and annulment. An annulment declared a marriage null and void but was distinct from divorce. As Henry VIII was never granted a Catholic divorce, Mary remained legitimate. However, perhaps under pressure from Anne Boleyn, which was commonplace for stepmothers at the time, Henry sought to elevate the status of his future children. In 1533, an Act of Parliament formally declared Mary illegitimate, reducing her title from princess to Lady Mary. Mary wants to be recognized as a legitimate princess in Wolf Hall. Mary seems to be aware what a threat she is in Season 2, Episode 1. The events of Wolf Hall Season 2 are 3 years after Mary was declared illegitimate. In the first episode, Mary has been arguing for her legitimacy as a princess. It is Thomas Cromwell's mission to talk her out of this rebellion and sign a document accepting her illegitimacy. The tension in the episode is that Henry may go to the extreme of executing his own daughter, following the execution of Anne Boleyn and marriage to Jane Seymour a fortnight later. Thomas Cromwell appeals to Mary to give up her rebellion to save her life. Henry reconciled with Mary, providing her with a suitable household and considering future marriage alliances. She became godmother to Jane Seymour's son Prince Edward. Despite reuniting with Henry, her illegitimate status limited her freedom. Britannica. Interestingly, Wolf Hall shows Cromwell telling her not to read the papers when he hands them to her to sign, as this means she can repudiate them later. This is not true of history, however. Lady Mary did read Cromwell's suggested letter clarifying her acceptance and sent back the same, word for word, and it is unsealed, because I cannot endure to write another copy. British history. Mary was not the only child to be removed from the line of succession. Her half-sister Elizabeth was also stripped of her title. Following Anne Boleyn's death, Henry and Anne's daughter Elizabeth was also stripped of her title. Just as Mary's illegitimacy was to elevate the legitimacy of Anne's children, Elizabeth's illegitimacy was declared to elevate the legitimacy of Jane Seymour's. This reinforces the crushing burden of dynastic expectations at the time. Building the myth of legitimacy for his family with a tenuous claim to the throne was Henry VII's plight, which Henry VIII would have witnessed, contributing to the force behind his decision-making. Elizabeth was only a toddler when her mother was executed and her reduced from princess to lady.